A technique is a specific, unique, and identifiable movement. Skill is the actual application of that movement. So that's what technique is, and that's what skill is. Skill is an actual, or a technique is the very specific. Let's take the throw Tai-Otoshi, body drop. Okay, it's where if you don't know it, if that's not your sport, or you have different nomenclature, that's the throw where I throw my opponent when I split my legs wide or kind of wide, and he goes over one of those legs. I make him do that. It is a very specific, unique thing. It is that technique. So that is what Tai-Otoshi looks like. Now, how I make that happen is totally up to me, and how I control my opponent, and how I control the circumstances, how I break his balance and fit in, all this stuff. So that's the skill application of it, is the actual application of how to make that technique work. Okay? When someone says he's got good technique, boy, does he have good technique. Okay, they're really making reference to that person's skill in doing that technique. So he's got good skill. He makes that thing really work. That's fabulous. And so it's in the effective application of a technique. It's what skill is. So when someone says he has good technique, yeah, he probably does have good technique, but he also knows how to apply that technique to make it work for him. We're on, okay. All right, guys, we're going to work on a good concept here. This is good judo, this is good sambo, whatever you want to call it. We're going to work on controlling with the hands and using the hips. We're going to do like a cross-body harai goshi osotogari type movement. A good one you see, she just fought this last weekend, is Ronda Rousey. She was always trying to get the hips in there and throw. It starts with good posture. You can't control balance unless you have good posture, so we'll work on this. Eric, can you turn around so we can get the view here? Watch. Now, whatever grip you're using, in this case, let's use your right hand is controlling around the deltoid here of James, okay? He's got that good grip. Turn around here, everybody see that? Good grip there? It's not looping over. See how he's killed my arm? Okay, that's a good grip to start. So we've got to do that so we can suck in. We want to suck in with our hand, constantly pull. You're not pushing, you're pulling, okay? Now, turn around here. Now, we got that established. This is generally when you're kind of close in and fighting.
Awesome.
It's a great move.
Okay.
So you got him here. Now, his hand is on the sleeve, okay? You may even have it on the lapel, but we got good, right now, pretty good control of the sleeve, okay? So we're going to control the sleeve. Right at the elbow. Now, what Derek's going to do is he's going to quickly crunch him in, suck him in, and quickly turn his hips. Now, one thing you didn't see, these hips here are turned, and hips are already close in. That's why you got to have good posture. If you're all bent over and out of posture, do it the crappy where you're bent over and out of posture. If you're out there, you can't do this. He'll see it coming. He'll see it coming a mile away, and he'll be gone. Okay? So that's why you want to have good posture to start, some good upright posture. So then lead with your hip. Okay? And what he's going to do quickly is suck him in, and he's going to turn and step. Now, see how that breaks his balance. That controls James's balance. Okay? So sucking him in, quick turn, and there. Okay? Now, you want to sugarfoot a little bit, like he's doing there, because that gets your hip a little closer. In this case, Derek's right hip a little closer. No, he's normally a lefty. He's doing it right. He just having to grab right tonight. But so he sucks him in, and as he does, his hips are turned, and he steps quick. Notice it's directly to the side. Don't step into him, because this way James may be waiting and buck him up bad. Yeah, catch him like an uranagi or something as a counter. Okay? So let's look at this without killing the guy too much. It's a hard throw. So he sucks him in, gets the hip turn and step. Wham! He was very nice to him. That hip turn and step are almost simultaneous. As soon as you get your hip turn, you're going to step quickly. And it's not a big stomping step. It's a little quick, kind of a short step. So I got him here, quick turn, quick step. Watch him how he does it. Suck it in, quick step, and throws. Wham! Now, if he really meant to do that, he would slam and land on the guy. That's why we use crash pads. Just one more time. So suck in. Now, it all starts good posture, and he's leading with his hip a little bit. It looks like he's leaning back, but he's not. His right hip's still in there. Okay? Sucks him in. Now look at his hip in the direction he's throwing. He doesn't stay upright like he's trying to do this aesthetically beautiful. He's sucking in and getting him in tight. pulling him in. Now when he does that, the left he'll step in, and now he's going to go directly sideways, come across the hook. That was a harder Osoto. That's why you learn breakdowns, okay? Osoto Gare, Harai Goshi, whatever it is inside. You can aim the direction of the camera and just see as he comes in. So he sucks in, steps in, and he crosses. Wham. Cross body, my old coach Rene Pomerel said most people are very well balanced front and back, very poorly balanced to the side. So if you can catch him to the side, you really can catch him clean. So go for the side first, the cross body actions. Step in, wham. Okay? After a while, it'll look like, what was that? Osoto Gare, Harai Goshi? I don't care. I threw him. You know, that's what it is. Let's work on that. We'll get that down a little bit. We'll work on the throws we like to work. Okay, go get it. I'm very pragmatic. I'm very believe in functional approach to learning and training of technical skills. My firm belief is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And as one of my athletes, a very quotable guy, Sean Watson, once said, "It's only pretty if it works." Okay, so aesthetics have a secondary role to the actual functional application and success of the event, of the movement. Okay, and that's very important. And because of this, for a good skill, a good technical skill to actually work when you need it to work in a fight, in a match, whatever it may be, self-defense situation, you have to train as realistically as possible. That doesn't mean, you know, all-out combat and randori and fighting and fighting and fighting. It does mean good functional drill training, good functional focused structured randori. It does mean train it so that that move works, that skill, that technique, I should say, works the best for you personally. When I was fortunate enough to train with Morris Allen, the world Sambo champion, and a number of years ago, and he's a world-class judo man as well, and wrestler, he told me, he said, we were doing judo in that particular case, he said, make your judo work for you. And then we were doing Sambo, and he says, well, conversely, make the technique work for you. You know, fit that technique, mold it to fit your body. That's what skill is. So mold it, and it's very difficult to do as a coach. You can't just cookie cutter, you know, approach your coaching. You have to mold that technique to fit your student, to your athlete, pretty much from the start. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to teach the fundamentals. The basics have to be done correctly. You know, you have to do them right. But at the same time, as a coach, that's where coaching is a real serious task. It's a real serious business. I have to take everything I do seriously and study my craft, my art, my science, to make sure that I'm showing that student that move's going to work best for him. Okay. And again, it may work for him well now, and as he develops, as he grows, as his body changes, you know, teaching a child, he grows into an adult, or something changes in some way, he may alter that technique over a course of time to make it work even better for him. Or he may discard that technique because after a while, it's no longer useful for him for whatever reason. So don't get married to just a one way of doing the technique. That's what skill's about. Skill is a moving, kind of I don't want to say living thing. It's kind of a silly way to say it, but it's a dynamic thing. Skill is. Okay, Mike Pennington's working with Derek on a very wide split Taiotoshi body drop. Notice the very, very wide split. The Taiotoshi, basically you get in front of them, split your legs apart, and throw them over them. And in this case, Mike has a very, very nice, very low split. You don't see this very often. Not everybody does this, but those who do it exceedingly well. So, Mike, can you just kind of go through it fairly slow? If you want to talk us through it even, you know, tell us a little bit about it.
I collapse a man, Start with a little bit of a sugar foot. As I step across.
Now, your kazushi, or your unbalancing of him, is your left arm. You're pulling his elbow in, aren't you? Which is totally different than most guys do their taiotoshi. So you're kind of like we always say, wrapping a belt around him. So your right hand is up high on that. Let me see your right hand there. I see up there, okay. And your left hand is squishing in, yeah, turning in. And so rather than the standard where you really lift high with your elbow, like most people do, you're really collapsing his elbow and throwing him in that direction. So it's a very low, very, very low. And when you're split, what's your back? You back step, you spin him out? I see. So it's a very wide back step. Okay, one more time. I know Derek loves it. One more time. And a very wide split. Now, when you, on your right leg, is it flexed, or how do you do it? Is it a straight leg?
I like to get like that. I don't always do it.
You just almost shoot it straight from the hip then, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, very good. Okay, thanks a lot, Mike. That's a very low, wide taiotoshi. As I mentioned before, for an improvement in skill to take place, it must be learned and practiced in the way it is to be performed, okay? In other words, practice the way you intend to do it. Right. Neil Adams told me a long time ago, practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect, okay? And he may have picked up that from somebody else, I don't know, but he was the first guy I heard to say it. And it sure does make a lot of sense to me, okay? So again, you know, perfection may be impossible, but we sure want to achieve it if we can. We really strive for it, and especially in skill learning. So, and something you may have leaned over what I just said here in a bit. You not only want to practice it the way you will intend to use it, but you want to learn it the way you intend to use it. So that takes, as a coach, and you coaches, you know, this is my take on this. When you teach something, you're going to teach a fundamental skill, a fundamental way of doing a movement. That taiotoshi, again, we'll use that as an example. There is a basic way of doing it, the way of breaking the balance, fitting the body in, you know, developing the technique, execution of the technique, the attack, and the follow-through. There is a structured way of doing taiotoshi, what looks, and we all identify as taiotoshi. And when you're teaching novices or beginners, new people, you want to make sure all those elements are there and you teach the technique fundamentally correctly. Sound fundamentals are essential. And remember, elite level, world-class performance in any sport, you know, that's nothing more than simply fundamentals done to their full potential. And for it to be done to its full potential, that fundamental skill, that fundamental technique has to be done the most efficient way to fit that person's body under the circumstances, relative to the circumstances. Hope that makes sense. Because I've got to make, as Morris Allen said, I've got to make the technique work for me.